Chapter 14. Wine is blood. Wine is a spirit, which in moderation brings gladness, but in excess causes heartbreak. For wine can gladden the human heart. Psalms 104:14. But wine in excess is a mocker, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. Proverbs 20:1. For the fall of man is traced back to wine, a spirit which has led man astray. And one does not have to look far to see what great harm wine has done. For the Palestinians to this day live with the curse of Canaan, for he refused to cover his drunken father's nakedness. Genesis 9:21. And the nations of Jordan and Syria to this day live with the curse of Lot, for in a drunken state he slept with his daughters. Genesis 19:35. And the countries of Islam to this day suffer from the curse of Esau, for he was cheated from his inheritance by Jacob while his father was drunk. Genesis 17:24. And even to this day the curse of wine remains, for as the end comes near, the curse has moved on to the Bush administration and oil industry. For whoever loves pleasure will suffer want. Whoever loves wine and oil will not be rich. Proverbs 21:17. Due to the evils of wine, the priests and prophets were instructed not to drink wine because of its spirit. For the prophets already knew they had inherited all of God's riches, but through the mockery of wine could lose their place with God. Proverbs 23:20. And Aaron, the first of the priests, and the following generations were instructed by God not to drink from the wine when they entered his tent of worship. Leviticus 10:8. And the prophet John the Baptist was instructed not to fill his body with any wine, but be filled with the Spirit. Luke 1:13. But the Lord's people failed him, and for their vast indulgence he removed their land and trampled their vineyard. Isaiah 5:4. And he promised that the day would come when he would harvest his people the grapes of his blessing. Isaiah 65:8. But when they are risen, the grape harvest will end, and destruction will devour mankind. Isaiah 24:11. And his judgment is just, for the wrath is not caused by God's hand, but the wrath comes from the hands of mankind. For mankind will eat their own flesh, and they will drink their own blood. Isaiah 49:26. And God in his mercy sent his only Son to bring the wine and to give his blood as a sacrifice for mankind. And at the wedding the groom changed water into wine, for as the steward said, "The Father has kept the good wine until now." John 2:7. For the good wine came to earth to place new wine into new wineskins. For he came to graft all the nations into the vine. And though all the nations have been grafted in the vine, his first love remains for his people. For his first love is for Judah, and his second love is for Israel. For like the old wine that is stored in old wineskins, the old is good. Luke 5:36. And before he died, he promised not to drink the wine until he came again. For the new wine is blood of mankind. Luke 22:17. Christ was crucified on the cross, that we may receive the Holy Spirit. And he commands not to be filled with the spirit of wine, but to be filled with the Holy Spirit of God. And no longer are we filled with the songs of debauchery, but are filled with songs of thanksgiving and praise. Ephesians 5:18. But now the end has come. When Christ the King returns, he will harvest his prophets and martyrs and saints, the temple of God and the tribe of Judah, the creature with 4 heads, and the unblemished grapes. For his temple is perfect, and no fault could be found in them. Revelation 14:5. But that day is foreboding for those left behind. But who can question his judgment? For had he not warned of this day through the prophets that the judgment would come? Joel 3:13. For Christ will harvest the unfinished grapes, and he will crush them in the winepress, and the blood of mankind will flow like the wine. Revelation 14:19. And woe to those who are left behind. And how is wine made from grapes? First it is crushed in the winepress. Then it is fermented into wine. And then it is stored until it is mature. And what is the process of fermentation? Fermentation is the process through which sugar is consumed under anaerobic conditions and made into wine, and the CO2 and energy are disposed of. And the wrath of God is a process through which mankind is consumed in the absence of the Holy Spirit, and made into blood of mankind, while the spirit and body of man is thrown out. Thus mankind shall be turned into the blood of man, the spirit of man, and the body of man. And the storage of wine is so wine can mature, by removing its excess debris. And the wrath will continue until each penny is paid. For as the Lord promised, truly I tell you, you will never get out until you have paid the last penny. Matthew 5:26. And the times will be devastating indeed, for many will try to seek death. But as the prophecy says, people will seek death, but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will flee from them. Revelation 5:6. But when the last penny is paid and the King drinks of the new wine, the gates will be open for all to drink of the wine of the Spirit. Isaiah 55:1. All the nations will live in peace, and the mountains will drip with sweet wine, and the Lord will dwell amongst us forever. Joel 3:17.